Nestled between the mountains and the East Sea sits the city of Gangneung in the Republic of Korea. Over 200,000 Koreans call this city by the sea home. There's markets, shopping, and dining galore. But the real excitement today is inside the Gangneung Curling Center, where teams and granite collide on the ice at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Our feature match is Women's Session 6, China versus Japan. My name is Anne Swisshelm, and I'm joined by Olympic champion Rona Howie.
Good afternoon.
Good. Playing for China at lead, Cindy Zhuang. At second, Dong Zuchi. Playing third and skipping, Liu Seja. Throwing the last rocks, Juan Ilun. And for Japan, Yurika Yoshida is lead. Yumi Suzuki plays second. Shinami Yoshida at third. Satsuki Fujisawa skip. As the teams get ready, this is a battle of undefeated teams. And here are the standings. China and Japan at 5-0 and 4-0. Korea just behind with 3-1. And the back half of the pack includes Australia, Hong Kong, Kazakhstan, and Qatar. This afternoon's matchups across the rinks. Kazakhstan playing Australia on sheet A. Korea playing Hong Kong on sheet B. Sheet C is idle, and sheet D is our feature game, China and Japan. By virtue of the last stone draw, the last shot advantage will go to Team Japan. That means we will get underway with China throwing the first rock. Throwing the red stones will be China. Japan will be the yellow stones. And as we mentioned, these teams are undefeated and playing for not only the championship here, but the big prize at the end of the season, a spot at the World Curling Championship. First rock comes into play a little bit deep. And we're going to get a chance to see what Team Japan's tactics are this opening end. Team Japan's opening stone comes to rest in the free guard zone. That rock cannot be removed from play at this time. And Zhuang Cindy, 21. She's been curling almost half her life. She's throwing the lead stones for Team China. This is something you like to see. A team throwing a corner guard and then using it. So Yurika Yoshida started curling at the age of 4. Rona, when did you start your curling career?
When I was 17.
17.
A wee bit after the age of 4. Yeah, definitely start them young. That's the time to get going.
Really get them hooked. And this stone just bends nicely underneath that corner guard. What do you think of this start, Rona?
Yeah, fairly typical start to the end with the lead stones. Just with China slipping back tee, they need to get another one round here now, top of the tee. But they do lie short, so they're quite happy just to ignore that one in the side.
Yeah, and Dong Zuchi with her first stone of this really key game for Team China from the entire week. This is China's last game in the round robin.
Yep. There's a session tomorrow, but they have their bye, so in a way they're probably a slight benefit to play your 6 games in a row and have the bye in the last game, because you know exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
If they win this game, then they go through top, and it's a huge advantage in the ranking table.
And Yumi Suzuki will do what she can to prevent China from having a comfortable go at the top of the standings.
Yeah, Japan have got a tougher run in. They play, obviously, China just now, and then they play Korea in the last game. So,
and our rules of play come up here. It is the 5-stone free guard. 6 ends are minimum. There's 38 minutes of thinking time, and each team gets a 60-second timeout. So China in a pretty commanding position right now.
Yeah, they're dominating the top of the tee, and they've got cover on it. So Japan not taking any chances. They're just going to open this up. They have got last stone. They would dearly love to score 2 at this first end. Of course, Japan are very used to this venue. Back in February, the Olympic Games, they picked up a bronze medal. So they're very familiar with this building.
And what kind of advantage might that provide for Team Japan?
I think they're the only team in the ladies group that were here at the Olympics, so the rest, it's all very exciting for them to be here, because the venue still looks exactly the same. So it, you know, a lot of these players will have seen it on television, and now they're here playing in it. But for Japan, it's home from that for them.
And the skip for Team China, she throws rocks 5 and 6. So she calls the game, but throws rocks 5 and 6.
The sweeper standing well back just now.
Look at that ice start to bend. You really see the curl at the finish.
So, China lie 3.
Yep.
The guard's fairly long, and with a good swing in this ice, it's easier to come round with the long guard and just play a tap back weight.
Yeah, something that's just through the rings, enough momentum to get that stone out of play or to the back of the 12-foot. Shinami Yoshida. Intently watching her rock leave her hand, travel down the ice. She knows how pivotal this shot is.
Can they get it past the guard? Ah, lovely shot.
With that little inside roll, she's pretty pleased. So now this is an interesting adjustment with the skip being in the hack for this shot. She's calling her ice from the opposite end of the rink. As we get a look at Leo Sija. She started relatively late in life at the age of 16.
Yeah, compared to the rest of her teammates. Yeah, they're just quite happy to come in and really freeze here. Try and force a one even.
Yeah, that would be a victory. And look at that beautiful positioning above the tee line. They may not be shot stone, but they are in the controlled position now all of a sudden.
Yeah, Japan need to be very careful here.
So Japan has 3 rocks left, and they can feel that this situation is really important. So a quick conversation. Shinami Yoshida taking a look at the situation in the house. Now players don't do that every time they throw. They don't go all the way down. What's one of the reasons why a player would go down and confirm with their skip?
Yeah, well, I think just because she's maybe not too sure of the stone positioning, what the space between the stones is like in the head. So she herself just wants to have it clear where the margin for error can be.
Right, just being really comfortable with the angles, confident.
Because this is really important that they don't rub off the Chinese stone and come into the open.
Still got quite a bit of pace on this stone. Are they going around?
So a bit heavy with that one. Gives China the opportunity to come in now and just tap the red back onto the yellow. They know the line, they've just come in that way.
Yeah, and they really only need to move their stone a couple of centimeters.
Yeah, just need to count that yellow that's biting the button. One thing with both of these teams, they communicate non-stop.
Yes. For all you young curlers out there, notice how much communication is happening, the frequency. And it's all going to start with Zhuang Yilun's first rock of the first end of their last game of the round robin.
The sweeper's saying it's got enough weight. It needs to curl for what they want it to do. Oh, didn't move enough.
And now all of a sudden you've got to wonder if there isn't just
the double on the reds there that you see at the top of the forefoot would push the yellow back onto the back red. So if she hit that pretty hard at the front, it would certainly open it up for Japan.
Yeah. Japan also is noting that there's potential now to hit and roll under. And sit behind staggered guards and on the button, on that small white circle in the center of the rings. Satsuki Fujisawa.
It's our trademark pink gloves.
While she's throwing her rock, we're going to take a look live at Korea-Hong Kong match. Hong Kong skip. Liu Hung with her last stone, looking at a tough hit and roll. She needs to get a part of the button. She doesn't, but she does successfully hold the Koreans to a single point. That's after the first end. Korea steals 1 point, and they lead over Hong Kong going into 2. So we check back into the situation on our feature game.
Japan didn't get the roll in behind, just nosed it. So now it gives China the opportunity to really put pressure on them. I would really have liked Japan to have made the big weight double on that red. Open things up there for her.
Really smash the rock in the top of the forefoot. Take command of that scoring area.
Yeah, because if they just hit the top red there, slightly off center, the shooter would have stayed. Both reds would have gone, back one would have spun off the yellow. So it would have opened it all up for them and given them a chance to maybe score 2. However, that's not the case. So now China have the opportunity to just tap on this red.
Yeah, and this one's running real straight. Are they moving to a plan B, a little in-off here?
I think there's a gap though. Oh, just made it. They do lie 1.
Just a little bit of an overthrow there. And you've got to wonder now if that smash still isn't there. Here we see it, the sweeper's right off. Trying to make it curl, get a little bit of a tap. And they do not. And Japan still sits 1.
The angle isn't as good now. It could come in off their own yellow now.
I think she's playing the straight draw through that tiny port.
Yeah, and if it does hang like the last couple have coming down this line, she can come in off her own yellow. She has to bite the button though.
And this is the hammerstone, the last shot of the first end. Japan sits count 1. Skip Fujisawa needs another piece of the button.
Yep, she's caught that straight track as well.
Just not enough curl there. And at the end of the first end, China 0, Japan 1. China will have the hammer in the second. This is live coverage of the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. We're in the key matchup of the week so far. Team China is playing Team Japan. It's the second end. Lots of rocks in play that first end. And Team China looking to generate a little bit of offense. We're going to utilize that free guard zone.
They're working this one hard. They don't want it too long.
So that does sit a little bit high in the free guard zone area. And Yurika Yoshida throws this stone down. She'd love to tuck this around her center guard.
Right on the button.
So that conversation just going through what she can see from the hack, the shooter. Zhuang Cindy talking to her skip, Leo Seja. And there's that late curl, that super finish. It's almost like it's making a right turn there.
Not an ideal result for China when they've got last stone to block up the front.
Yeah, you've got to wonder if the Chinese player wasn't fully committed to that shot. She really liked coming the other way potentially. She could see part of the Japanese stone on the button. And now this is an opportunity for Yumi Suzuki's first stone here. Put another one into the rings.
Yep. Just top four is perfect. It's overcurled a wee fraction.
So we've got our 5 rocks in play. There's a chance now that we can start hitting the rocks that are in front of the rings. And that's exactly what Leo Seja is going to have her team do.
Yeah, they've got last stone. They don't want to be giddling around behind centre guards when they don't need to. It's only the second end.
And that outcome there, Rona, it's a tough one.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to remove both those guards. So now advantage really goes to Japan here. They've got 2 in the forefoot, 1 guard up. If they can get a second guard, a slightly longer guard here, then you could see China having to do a lot of clearing. That's a nice guard there, really well placed.
So the guard, you're looking to block not only the stones in the house, but make the toughest angle possible for the double peel or a clearing shot.
Yes, definitely. You don't want to bring your 2 guards close together, make it easy to lift them both. You want to make China use 2 shots to clear the front.
at this angle, there is a chance for China to move a lot of granite. They're waiting for the line. Oh, just goes through everything. Gotta wonder if all of a sudden now this very experienced Japanese team is putting significant pressure on Team China.
It's our skip. Sorry, won't do that again.
Yeah, that's it's an awful feeling when you've just thrown a shot that has zero production for your team.
Absolutely, you want to make sure you get something out of every stone that's played. It might not be your plan A, but as long as you get something. This is a tough port to come through here.
They're still a little on the wide side, and then they get through it.
Wow, they're really piling the pressure on now. Because
Beautiful.
Japan don't have last stone. So they could even put up another guard and say, you know, I've got my 2 in the 4 foot.
Yeah.
Here, you try and get in and even get your 1.
Yeah, now we got to look at the coach from Japan, J.D. Lind. He has been working with Team Japan for quite a while. Looking back at that draw right through the port, it starts to warp in there. What outstanding communication and sweeping from her team.
Oh,
yes.
she likes that.
Shinami Yoshida loves that finish.
It was beautiful. No sweeping, just played it, down it came. Perfect. So now China want to really run this guard back into the pile and try and split it open.
Yeah, working hard to hold the line. And they do move a couple of the stones.
But they have left a guard. Oh.
Yeah, and now Carolyn McRory, she is a new coach for Team China, but one of the most experienced players, Olympic silver medalist from the Vancouver Games, and she brings a lot of game knowledge and also communication standards to this Team China.
Yep. She's well known for her Manitoba tuck delivery. But yeah, she brings a great amount of experience to this team. It's a new team, this Chinese lineup. Several skips in the one team, so never always an easy combination to have.
Oh, and that's another nice draw into the 4 foot for Shinami Yoshida and Team Japan.
Japan have certainly got their draw weight nailed today, coming into this game.
Well, they had it in the pregame practice, and they have carried that over into ends 1 and 2.
Very good result. Best you could really do there.
Yeah, Leo Seja, the skip, trying to make things simple as possible for her 4th stones thrower. Zhuang Yilun is going to come up next, and let's see what Japan leaves her. Great run back.
At least Japan know the way through those guards there on the right-hand side. You can come through in the out-turn and tap back that red. They're quite happy to freeze on top and just force the 1. Japan do lie, I suppose it's, at this stage they're saying, okay, we'll leave the difficult shot for you.
Yeah, the freezing on top though, wouldn't China just play that run back again? And maybe then sit 1 and 2? I know it's a tough shot, but...
I think that's why she's thinking she wants to come right into the 4 foot.
Okay. Oh, those sweepers are working this one. Looks like they're working it for weight. Does this have enough to get to the shot stone?
Wow, they have swept that well.
What powerful sweeping.
Oh, China now maybe lie shot. Oh no, it's close. Oh, I don't know who's lying shot now. But anyway, it was a great shot.
Yeah, those sweepers, they are so powerful.
Yep, a completely team shot that one. The thrower threw it. Person in the head's judging line, and the sweepers just swept from start to finish. So great team effort.
Yeah, the thing that's very important to know is that while the sweepers have their heads buried and they're sweeping, they are still communicating where they think the rock is going to stop, how much momentum they see behind the stone, and making sure they can get the most out of each shot. Look at the lead sweeper looks up, she looks where she's going, making sure, always double checking.
And the third player in the head, she's just about down in the ice,
Yeah.
watching the line.
And now, Zhuang Yilun, she needs the same run back that her skip had.
Oh, beautiful shot. What a shot.
Not a problem. Absolutely perfect run back.
How an end can turn around. Doesn't show much emotion, quite calm.
Yeah, that's probably why she's throwing that last shot. She's going to leave the emotion for her front end. They're already moving on to their next shot. What's going to happen next?
Yeah,
That's where that freeze really created some trouble. I mean, it just was not, and I wasn't sure that shot gave Japan much of anything. So now, Satsuki Fujisawa and Team Japan, they've got to navigate a port on the opposite side of the ice to where they've played this entire end. They saw one rock on this side of the ice from their lead.
they can see enough if they just play a tap back weight to tap yellow onto red and remove one red, and their shooter stays about. It's going to be very difficult for China to get in for two. She needs to navigate past these guards.
It's the straight side of the ice. They get just by. And they do remove one stone.
Oh, that was close.
It was so close. That's how close. Just a centimeter by the red stone outside the rings. But it's enough to force a pressure draw. Although the hit might be easier here. Hold it a little straight. Play that same port you just saw from Fujisawa.
Yep, that's what she's chosen to go for. As you say, she's just seen the line Japan can down. Just needs to follow it. Maybe just not quite so close to the outside guard though.
Yeah, no need to flirt with that guard. But really, two incredible run backs. One from Liu Sija, the next from Zhuang Yilun. She gets to follow it up with just a simple little hit. They need this one to curl. And no luck. They get bit by that straighter side of the ice with a little bit of outward momentum and up weight. And they are held to a single point. We are all tied up after 2.
ストレートだからランバックとか簡単で相手同じ方何回もあれしたからねちょっと相手の傾向も見ながらショット選んでもいいかもね次から OK 1、2、3让我再调整一下击打加油 等一等啊，力量，我感觉力量没有。2，下路 OK， 可以的话等一等。2，稍微等一等，不着急啊。下路难题，正常擦就行。正常擦就行。
We bring you live coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Our feature game, you're watching China and Japan. The score is all tied up. We're 1-1. Japan has the last stone advantage in this third end. It's been an incredible game so far. Lots of rocks in play right from the beginning. Extraordinary shots, and then a couple of miscues from the 4 stone throwers.
Yep, both teams have had a chance for 2s with the hammer. Just been able to get their 1s.
So now we're seeing a change in tactics from Team Japan. In the opening end, they threw a corner guard. Now they're going underneath that center guard. Some of the thinking there.
Yep, so Japan could be thinking third end might just blank this, go into the 4th end, take the even end. Or they could just be having a quick end because they used quite a lot of time already in the first 2 ends. They get 38 minutes each for thinking time for their 10 ends. It's up to them how they manage that. But they've used quite a lot of time in the first 2 ends.
Yeah, the situations have been fairly complicated. Yeah, and you'll note it is thinking time. So thinking time, Japan, while they're making their decision, you can see their clock ticking down in the background. As soon as they put that rock in play, the clock stops.
Yeah, so as soon as when the player crosses that T line, the clock will stop.
So they've got 38 minutes to communicate and think between shots for 10 ends of play.
They want to just try and bounce this a wee bit off the inside. Oh, beautiful shot.
Yeah, just that subtle adjustment of the angles gives them the command. And it forces Team China to play the other side of the ice.
Yep, Yurika Yoshida's had a very steady week for Japan. It's been a very steady lead. And in the modern game, it's so important for the lead to put the stones in the positions that the skip's looking for.
Yeah, she is the top performing lead in the field for Team Japan. So that's going to put a ton of pressure on Zhuang, Cindy, and Team China answers nicely. Yeah, so 5 rocks have been thrown. We can now clear the stones in front of the scoring area. the free guard zone area.
Trying to raise the guard onto the one in the house. Oh, great result.
What a shot. What a shot. That is outstanding.
Yumi Suzuki is certainly one of the steady second players, but wow, that was phenomenal.
Beautifully called, beautifully swept, one into the other, and all of the red rocks are gone. This rock is curling really hard. It is all over that guard.
So now what we were saying earlier about the tactical calling of this end, Japan are now in a different position. They're line 2, there's corner guards in play. So they could actually try and build up a big end here.
Yeah, now I think, so what can happen for a team to switch their tactical plan? So they make a great shot or the opposition misses a shot.
Yeah, and that's where the skip has to be very good at just amending their plans as the end goes along. You need to be flexible. I don't like a centre guard when they've got last stone.
Yeah, this is, they just must be thinking it's pretty early in the end maybe, and that it would be okay, but this kind of thing can, and you can see that stone that's on the center of the rings is just behind the tee line. And that could be trouble.
And that red corner guard's very inviting to draw around.
It sure is.
Lie 3. Because even if China lifted the double, the chance of you scoring 2 is still very high. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this call.
Yeah, this is the kind of call, it feels like to me that you're planning on your opposition missing. Which they have done this end, so, and now all of a sudden we're at third stones.
So Liu Sijia trying to raise the guard into the stones in the house. And catches one of them.
Yeah, she gets a couple of them. And now you've got to, okay, so now all of a sudden she's going under the corner. It seems a little bit of a delay there on that call. An interesting delay for Fujisawa and Team Japan.
Yeah, because if she comes round the red, China could raise the red straight back onto it. She could come round the yellow, although it's not covering much of the house. On the right-hand side, she could come round that and leave a lot of separation between her 2 stones.
Working this stone right away, all the way down the ice for weight, and then it's got to be also for line. This curls so hard here.
They're passed, but is it in? Oh!
That little nudge. Underthrown by just enough that it doesn't make the rings.
So now China have got a chance to hit and roll behind that cover and put the pressure back to Japan. If Japan were looking to blank this end, they could be forced to take their 1 now.
China needs a good hit and roll. Right now it looks like they have the nose. Taking a look at Kazakhstan and Australia, That game's happening over on sheet A. Australian skip Tali Gill with her last rock. She needs a nose takeout to score a couple of points. And this rock runs just wide and doesn't get the takeout. And it will be a steal of 1 for Kazakhstan. That game is all tied up. It's 3-3 after the third.
Meanwhile, Japan are looking to split their yellow in and have 2 counters. Oh, maybe just.
I think they just got it with that little backspin at the end.
They're certainly asking China the question right now. They're leaving them a lot of raises, a lot of doubles.
China seems very comfortable with these runbacks, these double takeouts, these. They seem happy to be throwing them.
Yeah, they're not phased at all.
Yeah.
They practice it so often that it's just another bread and butter shot for them to play.
And
jammed
with
it.
that is a very tough outcome for Team China. The broom goes down quickly for Japan. They know that all of a sudden a pretty simple 2 is in order. Ideal location for this shot, Rona?
Probably the T-line on the other side, in the fact that you could leave it level on the 8-foot, but if they hit and roll off it there, way over behind all that cover, it could kill your end a wee bit.
So you want it to sit a little bit on the T-line, maybe even behind?
Yep, even slightly further back, so
yeah.
There's not going to be an easy double from the one that's behind the guard.
Now the sweepers are right off on this. Oh, sometimes the excitement of that open shot, a little bit of an adrenaline surge. And uncharacteristically, Satsuki Fujisawa puts her draw all the way through the scoring area.
Yeah, missed opportunity there. When your opposition makes a mistake like China did, you really have to capitalize.
Yeah, you've got to follow those misses with made shots as often as possible. Really double down the pressure on your opponent. And that is a very uncharacteristic miss. We have seen the Team Japan, how reliant they are and how they involve their sweepers on so many shots. That's very unusual.
Now, if they get this dead right...
This one's wide again.
Oh. Let off there for Japan. Because if China had got that dead right, it would have been guarded and Japan would have been forced to take their 1.
So Team China just going through what happened there, what they can learn from that shot. It's a couple of times that last rock has stayed wide, traveled wide. You've got to wonder, there's a couple of reasons why. It could be overthrown, it could be the stone is straighter. And now this leaves the opportunity for this last shot. Team Japan. They are looking for any piece of the scoring area. And just cleaning it down. She makes up for the mistake on her first. No problem, lands the second one. right into the scoring area. Satsuki Fujisawa and Team Japan hold a 2-point lead after the third end.
そうだね。あ、そっか。で、こっち使ってなかったからか。じゃあ。LSD と同じパスだから滑ると思う。ちょっとリリース優しいよ。ちょっと、あ、いいよ。いいよ。あ、ちょっと待つわ。伸びてるわ。ちょうどそこなの。いや、まだね、大丈夫そうかな。いいよ、はい、大丈夫。いいよ、いいよ。うん、15.9。あ、ナイス。
Veteran players, Team Japan, are on the ice taking on the new squad from China. Team Japan's got a 2-point lead. Jiang Xindi. She's had an excellent tournament. Those are her overall statistics through 5 games. Her accuracy levels really good, but no one in the field comes close to matching Yurika Yoshida at 95%. So steady. And the commentator's curse. As Eureka Stone slips just behind the tee line.
Yep, and with the new 5-rock rule brought in this season, the leads are even more. They were important before, but they're even more important now with their stone positioning.
So when you say the lead stones are important, that's because a team decides what their goal for the end is, and then they
yeah, so the team
set the table.
The team will have decided before the end how they're going to play it, what they want to do, and when the skip calls the tactical shots, the lead is the one that's setting up the ends. So if they set it up perfectly, then there's more chance that you can carry out the whole end the way you want it to go.
Yumi Suzuki, her tournament accuracy is at 86%. What a lead combination. 95% from Yoshida, followed up by 86% out of Suzuki.
Yep, that's certainly a front end to be reckoned with.
And a good shot from Suzuki. It's not exactly where they wanted it, but in a beautiful control position there on the top of the forefoot.
Yep, they've been more than happy here. You know, they put up the centre guard straight away because they got their 2 at the last end. They're happy to force China to a 1 at this end.
Speaking of high-performing front ends, Dongzuchi, she's had an excellent tournament. We've seen a bit of a struggle in this game so far. There's a lot of game left. And she makes a nice redirect there. And her shooter hangs around the back of the rings. That could come into play at some point.
Yep, just biting the rings and no more.
But that's all you need to go on the scoreboard if you just need to be touching those painted circles.
This is looking pretty high. It's got a lot of curling to do.
You know, it looks like it's got a little bit extra weight. So that side of the ice, that's along the boards here, and we have seen some rocks that travel a little bit straighter on that right side of the ice as we're looking at it now. They still curl at the end if you've got the right weight, but
yeah, if you're dead weight, they will come at the end. But just that ounce of running, and it hangs for quite a while.
So just a little extra momentum, and you lose the hard finish and curl.
So China could come in off the inside of that yellow.
And you can see this running very straight. Are they looking to tuck underneath their corner guard or draw right in?
We were wanting to come right in, but they could come off the yellow. They've got away with it. It's not easy to lift a double without jamming on your yellow. Depends if they're the red and yellow are level or not. We can't really see from this angle, but they certainly need to make a play on the reds.
So they have their discussion and looking at the angles. I think what Japan needs to remember here is they've got a 2-point lead. I don't think they need to get too cute here. So technically so proficient, these Japanese players. Their body position on sweeping, the brush position, you can see it's always in line with the curl of the stone. Boy, that one finished very hard.
Slightly strange call when they don't have last stone here. If Korea could come in there and to the inside of that yellow stone that's just been played, Japan are in a lot of trouble.
It is all of a sudden looking like a huge opportunity for China to sit 1, 2, and 3. Great sweeping from the front end, but not much they could do with that shot. It just hooked so hard.
Yeah, when you see the reds like that, the double can go without touching the yellows. I'm really surprised that they didn't hit that.
Yep.
They're 2 up in the game.
Yeah, and they're playing against a very high-performing opponent with they have the lead.
They want to just get to the inside of this yellow.
Yeah, and they must be close. And with that, I think now you've got to play. You've got to play that double, I would think, but This is it, the whole team. Everybody's involved. They're making that curl. Now all of a sudden hold it straight, hold the line. Sit in the control position on top. Japan now all of a sudden went from fully controlling the scoring area to now chasing a little bit here against the hammer.
And they've not really got a reason to. They could have been removing these red stones. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty well played stone.
Yeah, it's a good setup shot.
It does control the top of the button. It looks as though China are just lying one, but it's going to be very easy to move that second counter.
Yeah, and with a little bit of weight, it can be China 1, 2, 3 buried under a center guard in the forefoot.
And I don't think Japan actually had seen this maybe happening.
No, I think they felt like they had full control. But the only way to prevent the red ones from hanging on the scoreboard is to get them out of the scoring area. And with that, opportunity to China here. And Leo Seja to sit 1, 2, and 3 in the forefoot. Oh, but she's got to get by the guard. How is that guard even in play? All of a sudden, opportunity lost. Oh, it's so frustrating. Just touches the center guard.
And it's also blocked the other side now for coming in.
As soon as the stones hit that sideboard, they are out.
So Satsuki Fujisawa, if she just taps that yellow to freeze the red without moving the red, she's in a very, very good position.
Yeah. So we see Satsuki Fujisawa. She's had a good week, but there's room for improvement for her.
Sweeping this really hard to hold the line. Oh, what a shot. Is it shot though? I don't know.
Might be just shy of shot stone. And
she really wanted that yellow that she tapped to be frozen on the red, because now when China come in from this side,
yeah, and you've got to think they're not going to miss it twice in a row. So a good look at the delivery here. So steady, a little bit of an extension, outward movement, and then this hard finish. Sweepers going all they can. And now the top performing fourth stones in the field. Johnny Loon. And there you have it. China sits 1, 2, and 3 in a really good position here.
they have set this head up perfectly. And Japan just haven't wanted to remove any red stones. They're happy to come in and freeze or half check. When they don't need to, they're too up in the game.
Yeah, that's what throws me with the choices they've made, is they are up by 2. forcing a single point here was absolutely fine.
This will maybe be an end where the coach does a debrief on at the end of the game. Because it's a young team, they're all still learning, even though they're Olympic bronze medalists. You know,
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of experience, and you have to appreciate a team that's not afraid of their opposition's rocks, that try to use the opposition stones to their benefit. But in this situation, it's a couple of execution errors and positional errors here have really put a ton of pressure on Team Japan that just was unnecessary this early in the game. And what's her answer? Oh boy, is that good. She put herself into a little bit of trouble and looks like she got herself out of it.
Yeah, she did that.
Here we go.
She just caught it right to get the top one away and just bounce back in.
And making sure she gets the best angle possible. Yoshida on the line call. She nails it. So now it's waiting time. Looks like China is still shot 1. And Zhuang Yilun needs a piece of the button, a good piece of the smallest circle at the opposite end of the field of play to tie this game up.
They can't afford to nick their own at all. They don't want to nick it. Oh. That was a bit close for comfort.
Yeah, and the players are taking a good look at this. And we'll see. Yoshida looking from every angle. She's having her skip check, and they agree. It is 1 red. Team China takes a single point in the 4th end. This game is 2-3 in favor of Japan, who will have the hammer when we play 5.
大体3分半が普通。ちょっと巻く。ちょっと巻く。巻いてもいい。でもここ大事なとこだし、ちょっとアイスチェンジもありそうだから、コミュニケーションだけ取って、移動だけ。
You're watching live coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. You're watching Team Japan take on Team China. It is a battle of undefeated teams. Japan has a 1-point advantage. And this last rock here as we play the 5th end.
Yeah, both these teams desperate for a win to keep them at the top of the ranking.
We'll take a look over at Sheet A. It is all tied up 3-3 as Kazakhstan's battling with Australia. And the Australian skip, Tali Gill, looking for a takeout That's her mother and her sister sweeping. They're taking care of the family stone. They need to get down into the back, draw for this. Does count down, but Kazakhstan steals another point, and they've got a 4-3 lead. So after taking a look in at Kazakhstan and Australia, there's 7 countries here playing the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. They are playing for 2 spots at the World Championships and 2 spots at the World Qualification event this year.
Yep, there's a new qualification event in Naseby in New Zealand in January. All these teams competing here this week would love to take part in the World Women's Championship in Denmark in March, because it's all part of a cycle now with Olympic points. Although there's no Olympic points awarded at this year's World Championships, it does mean that if your country is represented at the Worlds, you can play in the Olympic qualifying event.
Yeah, at a minimum,
Olympics.
right?
Yes.
At a minimum. Yes, so that is...
So to get that world place now in the first year, it means the teams know that they're going to have that opportunity at worst case scenario to have a qualifier just before the Olympic Games in Beijing in 2022.
And the second player from Team China continues to struggle a little bit. She misses that hit, and now it provides Japan an opportunity to clear the center guard and bring all the play into the rings. This looks like Team Japan would be absolutely fine with blanking this end. And all of a sudden they would have the hammer at the even ends of the game. And in the second half, they would have 3 hammers, 3 last stone advantages potentially if the scoring goes to plan, to China's 2. So we've got our simplest setup that we've seen so far this game happening.
Yep, all fairly open. Japan are in quite a nice position, as you say. They probably want to blank and go into the 6th end and score there, whereas China would really love to force Japan to take their 1 at this end.
It's going to be really hard to force when you get a couple of misses or misplaced rocks from your front end. So now China's got to be happy to make sure Japan doesn't score 2.
Oh, how unlucky. It just rolled too far. Great effort there.
Yeah, just really nice ice awareness. She switched the turns on that shot to get the deeper roll, come at it from the inside instead over the top.
You can see the green lights there, saying that the stone is legal. If she'd crossed the line and not let it go, then it'd be flashing red, be removed from play. We've seen a couple of hogged stones this week. Oh, now she's left a double takeout for China.
And again, I don't think Team Japan's too worried about this. Their plan, it looked to me from the beginning of this end, was to blank. get that last stone advantage in the even ends for the second half of the game.
大力，有点偏大力啊！不，他力量我要Harry，哇 Harry， 哇 Harry， 好强
And double takeout executed with perfection.
一开始可往外了啊，他擦，好强，但我没啥转。
And it's got to be a little sigh of relief after seeing all the complicated ends that were happening. Now we take a look over at Korea and Hong Kong. Korea dominating this game. It's the last rock from Lingwei Hung. She's shot one. She needs a draw down right to her own, right into the forefoot. The sweeper's going so hard. Does she have enough weight? Comes up just a little short, but does hit the scoreboard finally. Korea's got 5 points, Hong Kong 1. That's at the 5th end break. And as we're looking to finish up the 5th end here in the feature matchup, Satsuki Fujisawa, Olympic bronze medalist. Simple draw. She's going to put it on the other side of the sheet. See if she can test her opposition a little bit.
And I think, Anne, you know, it's been very evident here this week, the standard of curling amongst these Asian nations. It is just getting better and better. Year by year, you know, the Olympics was here, you know, in Korea in February. The next Olympics is in China, Beijing, 2022. And these countries are investing big in their curling teams. They're getting the depth of players, the coaches. Everything is just put in place to be the best they can possibly be.
Yeah, and one of the top teams in the world, this team from Japan, looking to stay undefeated. It's the last stone of this 5th end. She does get the blank. And it's with a couple of giggles because they got a little lucky there. But the blank stays. Japan will keep the hammer in the second half of this game. So we head into the break. China 2, Japan 3.
Nice hit.
Missed opportunity leads to a great opportunity for China, and they miss right back. China is held to a single point on the missed hit. In the 3rd end, after a run back doesn't work out, Satsuki Fujisawa and Team Japan have a wide open house to draw to. It's a score of 2. And all of the action was in the 4-foot circle. in the fourth end. Zhuang Yilun, she needs a piece of the button. She cannot move her own stone. Comes up a little bit heavy, a little bit wide, and China is held to a single point. And our scores around the sheets. Kazakhstan all tied up with Australia. 4-4, Korea holding strong with a 5-1 lead over Hong Kong.
意外といいけど2投目ちょっと曲がりが少なくなってるミスがうちらも相手もあるから。幅だってこれちょっとあっちか。ここにもなんかいっぱいあるけど空いてないやつ。あ、本当？いやでも。振ってもいいか。
呢，对，
一个直，一个掉。那个俩都直，但是有一个比那个更直。我头一个是最直的。几号啊？8号是最直的。你的嘴都装不掉。
他调这个，
还有这个呀。我主要是好开了。
And looking at the statistics, it's really a story for Team Japan. Just incredible play up and down the lineup. But China holding close. They just need to pick up the play a little bit from the front end, and they will be right in this game all the way through to the end. You're watching live coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018, coming to you from the Gangneung Curling Center in Gangneung, Republic of Korea. It's our feature game. Japan holding a 1-point lead over Team China. You can see strong playing Yurika Yoshida for Team Japan. So looking for a corner guard, Japan ended up sweeping that stone into the rings. It's a little bit of a puzzler right there at the end. Zhuang Cindy having an excellent game. Playing to her standard today.
Yeah, you would really expect at the sixth end that Japan would make the effort to go for two.
Yeah, go really hard. I wasn't. They just might not have liked the line or something about that last stone.
It's going to hit and run though, so it gives now China the opportunity to take control and come round that centre guard and be top tee.
Uncharacteristic misses there, back-to-back actually. And I'm not sure if I've seen that all week from Yurika Yoshida.
Especially when she's been shooting 98% today.
Yeah. Now this is where China needs to make a move at this second position. Dong Zuchi is struggling a little bit today. And with that shot in the back of the rings, that's just not upping the pressure enough. And Yumi Suzuki, she is not holding to standard. She is outperforming her own high standard today, making nearly every shot. And when you see that 95% against a player who's at 50%, that is just such a significant advantage for Team Japan. And you can see it right here.
Yeah, huge advantage, because that was where China had the chance here to come round top tee and just didn't. They came back tee, and that, you know, at this stage in the game is a bit of an error you shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah, at this point in the week, and with this being the last game of the round robin for Team China, you know they've made the playoffs. They know they're going to the playoffs, but in which spot? Are they the #1 team, or are they 2 or 3, depending on the outcome from the last session of the round robin?
Yep, Japan have got a tough run in with China today and Korea tomorrow. Oh, that's a nice shot.
And that one stops in a pretty perfect spot, and
she's happy. That's what I'm supposed to do.
She's got to be thrilled. And you know, having played the game a long time, when you do have a situation where you're maybe just not feeling the conditions and performing to your norm, making a shot like that, a good one, really feels good.
It is vital for both these teams to get the first spot into the semi-finals. Because if Japan were to win here against China and then lose tomorrow against Korea, there'll be 3 teams tied for top spot. So they've all beaten each other, so they can't be determined on ranking. So it would go to the draw shot challenge.
Yeah, and so for our viewers out there, the draw shot challenge, that's a cumulative number over the entire round robin of the pre-game last stone draw that each team throws, and that decides who gets the hammer in the opening end, and then potentially who's the #1 team out of the round robin at the end of the week. Pretty important numbers. Leo Seja.
And it is good because all 4 members of the team take part in the draw shot, so it's a team effort.
Yeah, it really is a nice meter of how you're playing over time. and how each player is performing.
So that one of China, the weight really wasn't too bad. It's just over curled.
Yeah, so there's that subtle point. We talked about that side of the ice on the left side of your screen there. It can run very straight when the weight's up, but when the weight's spot on, it curls like the rest of the sheet. And Shinami Yoshida holding true to form with high performing at 88% this game.
Yeah, great consistency. It's a nicely played, nice weight.
Yeah, just enough to tap, get one stone out of the rings. So they're the outside sweeper here with the curl. Outside sweeper trying to make that rock move. We've seen him have trouble in this spot a couple of times. Just not reading that right there. And that's quite disastrous.
Yeah, that's certainly not the best result for China when they don't have last stone here. As you say, Anne, they've had that straighter result down that side a couple of times now, and you need to learn from that.
You know, the challenging thing about this is that all of the play is to center. And traditionally, when you have the last stone advantage, like Japan has here, you want the play to be out to the wings. You want to keep the center open, but dealing with what you've got.
That's pretty nice.
That's pretty nice. But it does, you know, China is third shot in the back of the forefoot. Boy, it's going to be tough to move those stacked rocks.
3 in a row. However, if they come in and do sit on the nose of that one, depends on her weight though, but if she pushes one out of the 4 foot, they'll only be lying one against because...
yeah, so this needs to be, I think, a little bit of a delicate shot here for China to play that stick around weight, create some traffic there.
Yeah, she's moved her ice, so
yeah,
she is just playing a down weight.
Just a delicate shot. Tough numbers today for Jiang Yilun. There's a lot of game left to play, and the scoreboard is still tight. So
that was really the best they could do there.
打完了，应该再打外边一点，他往这边走一点点，是不是？打完了没劲，因为下一个再找。ここでいいかい。もし万が一相手こっちから入ってきたら、あ、ここ立ってもできるし、こっちでも。ベストここ？ここでもいいや。ここでもいい。今ね、ちなここでやった。オッケー。絶対ダメなのここだもんね。絶対ダメそこ。ちょっと幅取ってるもんね。7、5、6の間、この1にね、並んだらいいかなぐらい。6が最高。赤の隣。黄色の隣。こう振ったらちょっとかかれば最高。OK。だけど、奥のパスだったらね、ピークだったんだ。OK。ちょっと取ってるもんね。奥になるよりか前だもん。OK。
So Team Japan going through all the options, and with that communication, just making sure every player knows exactly what they are looking for from this stone. They know they're in it. They've got a great chance to score 2 points here, open up the scoreboard a little bit, but it all depends on everyone executing at the same time, understanding what's going on. Here's that late, hard finish.
Just not got the weight on that one.
As we take a look at Korea and Hong Kong. And Kim Min-ji, the Korean skip. Her last stone in play. Drawing in. She wants to make a little split tap. She does not get the angle perfect. And as they check out the score, it's for sure a single steal for Hong Kong. They might run the measure. We'll let you know.
So Korea are trying the same shot that China are trying the same shot that Japan just tried to do, and they have just made it perfectly.
Are they shot stone there? Oh,
I think so.
Fujisawa is pointing to her yellow rock, though. Fujisawa thinks it's yellow for sure. But wow, what a sweep. What an effort by Team China on that shot. I mean, a fraction of a distance short.
Yeah, that was a shot that Japan wanted to play. If they had come around there, it would have caused a lot of trouble. But they had come up short.
So checking back in, that's the sheet we weren't sure what was going on the final score. Hong Kong for sure stealing a single point, and maybe 2 on Team Korea. Here's our last stone. Team Japan, they need half into the 4-foot. Front end working really hard. Sweeping coast to coast for Suzuki. Yoshida enters at the last minute. Just not enough. Comes up short. It is 1 for Team Japan. After such a good setup for Team Japan, that single point might be a bit of a disappointment, but looking back at the scoreboard, they open up the lead. They're up by 2.
伸びてはいたけど、ピークではないかも。若干ね、滑ってる時にゴリゴリは言った。あ、本当？オッケー。曲がりはなかった。ツーアップか。ツーアップ。うん。なんか。めっちゃ伸びてる。曲がってきたから。ちょっと待って。あー、ちょっとギリギリかな。15.4。うん、止まりはしそう。
It is a fantastic afternoon game here between China and Japan on Sheet D at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. I'm Ann Swisshelm, and I'm joined by Rona Howie, Olympic champion, and we are seeing some of the highest performing athletes in our sport out there right now, fighting for this championship, where the main prize is a spot at the World Championship.
Yeah, difference in experience as well. The Japanese quartet obviously have been together a few years. Did win Olympic bronze earlier this year. The Chinese team are fairly new together. Several skips that have joined forces. Wang Bingyu obviously had been the stalwart of Chinese curling for many years, so they've got big shoes to fill to follow in her footsteps.
Yeah, and China is building a pretty significant program in advance of the 2022 Olympic Games that'll be held in Beijing. They would love this young team to get as much experience as possible over the next 4 years. Build a dynasty of curling. And that's a lovely way to get that dynasty started. Nice little hit and roll underneath the center guard.
Yeah, both these teams competed in the Curling World Cup first leg earlier this season.
And this stone looks like it's lost its handle, might have grabbed something. They're working really hard. That is definitely picked up a little something. Maybe hit a flat spot out on the ice, or maybe a small piece of debris. And the rotation stopped on the handle. Sweepers did an outstanding job to carry that stone and keep it going.
Yeah, the sweepers on both of these teams are just working so hard out there.
Yeah, so the common phrase for the lead in the second is the front end. And so for any of you front end players out there, these are two teams to keep an eye on. Watch the body position, the frequency of communication. Brush position, finish, staying with the stone, getting everything you can out of that shot. And scores from around the rink. Kazakhstan holds the lead over Australia. Updating that Korea score, it was only a steal of a single point for Hong Kong, and Korea retains the last stone advantage, playing the 7th with a 3-point lead. And a reminder of what this means in the overall standings. China and Japan have qualified for the playoffs, but it will just, this game has the chance to determine the #1 seed in the entire event. Korea sits in 3rd place, and with that commanding lead over Hong Kong still, they look forward to playing Japan in the last game of the round robin.
So a chance now for China to come round here and lie to in the 4-foot. It's not ideally the situation they would like with playing all around the centre guard when they've got last stone.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit this week, and you've got to wonder with the new 5-rock free guard zone, if that isn't something that is dictating this.
China did put up their corner guard with their lead stone, so they were wanting to use it, but just haven't had the opportunity to. And now that one's come a bit far back. Allows Japan the chance to freeze here.
Yeah, and Japan, they are happy to freeze. We've seen that call all game. Very comfortable, not afraid at all of their opposition's rocks. This is a kind of a tight ice. It might be playing a little bit of, for sure, their weight.
It's got a long way to curl. China may have got away with this. Oh, they have. Because their weight really wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's just a lot of rotation, a little bit of an in-out release potentially. And, you know, at this point in the game, maybe the ice is starting to straighten up a bit. The sharp pebble's gone. They've been sweeping up and down the sheet. And now you can see it's a fantastic opportunity for China.
China will also be conscious that that double raise is there for Japan at the front. This is hanging as well. They have got the backing now of the Japanese stone.
Yeah, there it starts to warp. It starts to bend in.
Yeah, that one did come in as expected.
You can see here, all of a sudden it just starts to bend, bend, bend. Freeze right down in there. Truly, the ice conditions all week have been outstanding. The chief ice technician, Sean Olsen, and his entire crew working tirelessly from dawn till dark to give these athletes extraordinary conditions. And all of a sudden, same thing, lots of rotation, that in-out release, and she just overthrows this one.
So this is a great opportunity now for China to come right in and top there. Top of her own red, lie 3.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Japan's got to be thinking, how do we hold them to 2? Yeah, you can see she is watching her own rock with dismay. And if this one slows down, it'll curl right in there. It is accessible, but the side's been tricky. It's been tricky.
Yeah, can Japan move 2 of the red stones, do you think? They could do.
Yes.
They hit all they can see, 2 of those reds will go. And also the red at the back of the 4-foot could also spring back. She's got to go for this.
Yeah, she really doesn't have a choice here. And she's got to be confident that she knows how to make the draw, the freeze with her last one to bail to bail out of this end, but right now she's going to use an up weight.
Because they know that there is a straighter path down here with up weight, and this certainly will be an up weight shot. They're working this really hard for the line.
Oh, that is one of the finest shots.
They swept that so well.
Look at how it just squeaks by. What a sweep. This front end, so strong on the brushes, holding that shot. Really extraordinary work there.
Great shot. And that was a big opportunity missed for China. If they had got in there, lie 3 buried. Now, how do they get their 2 at this end?
Yeah, it's not easy to tuck in there, as we saw. And some brave ice choices from Fujisawa and Team Japan on that hit. Put them in a nice position to hold China. I mean, for a minute there, we were thinking 3 is almost a slam dunk.
That's back to the stone positioning, isn't it? And they just hung out, gave Japan that opportunity. And this is hanging as well.
That's really just disastrous rock positioning for China.
Yeah, that's really the worst place that they could have put it. They could have been short.
Anywhere short.
And that's where erring on the correct side. You know, she wanted to be right in, but if you were short, it wasn't a disaster.
Yeah. Zhuang Yilun maybe feeling a bit of the pressure in this last round robin game. It's a little wider path. She hooked that out a bit.
She was just slightly on the high side, played into out with the bigger weight, and there was no recovery there.
Yeah, and that's an unusual shot for Japan, because remember, their sweepers are engaged in almost every shot they throw. It's really unusual that you see or you hear the silent shot from Team Japan. Almost no communication on that one.
However, in saying that, it's not an easy draw for 2.
Oh boy, look at that space. There is not much space.
They virtually have to just about bite the 1 foot. Coming off that long guard into the button. Not an easy shot. But it is easier. She knows she is lying 1. She scored 1. She's not playing against 3.
Yeah, and now she doesn't have to worry either about tapping her own stone. She was navigating some complicated scenarios before. Zhuang Yilun's last rock. Now it starts to warp.
14-3, hog to hog. So it's maybe just a wee bit speedy. Oh, they're going to reckon. Oh, plan B.
Well, in the sport of curling, you can get lucky, but in order to get lucky, you've got to put the rock close. And China puts it close and comes up perfect. And with this little rub and redirect roll back to the button, China successfully executes this shot. Not the way you draw it up, but the point will hang on the scoreboard. We're all tied up, 4-4 after 7. You're watching live coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. We're in the Gangneung Curling Center, where 9 months ago, this team from Japan took the bronze medal at the Olympic Games. They're now hoping to champion this game in the round robin here, hold pace to be at the top of the standings. They are undefeated. They have 2 games left to play. The game here they're playing with China, and then they will play the host nation, Team Korea, in the final game of the round robin leading into the playoffs. Team China just had an extraordinary end where they made an absolute pistol of a rub and spin redirect to the button to tie the game up. They are undefeated as well in the round robin. And with a win here, they would secure their spot as the #1 seed going into the playoffs. So this is more like the Team Japan we're used to. Lots of communication, sweeping. They're holding the line. They're playing the tick shot here. And looking to spin underneath the corner. They almost get a perfect shot. So why are they just ticking that shot up there, Rona?
Well, now it's the 8th end of the game. Japan really want to score here. They've just got, the game just got back to peels. They would love to get a 2 at the 8th end. And they're trying to open up the centre so that China can't get stones in behind centre guards. They have to tick because they're not allowed to remove it from play in the free guard zone. So just a wee bit deep there.
Yeah, as we take a look in at Kazakhstan and Australia. Kazakhstan's got a single stone in the back of the button. Tali Gill and her Aussie quartet has a chance if they can get by the rocks in the top of the house, get to the nose of the stone in the back of the button. They'll take 3 points. And with that, they take a 1-point lead into the 8th end.
So Japan just clearing off the centre guard. They know that's a danger stone for them.
And they've got some traffic on the side of the rings that they can work towards.
Yep, they're happy with their corner guards there. They can use them to try and score multiple points. But they know China will do everything in their power to block up the front and force them to take a 1 here. And this is where, when it gets to the business end of the game in the last couple of ends, teams have got a very clear plan of what they want to try and achieve from the scoreboard.
Yeah, and China is absolutely looking to steal here. I mean, a single point in the 8th end makes all the difference to both these teams.
Yeah, China, ideally, if they can steal or force the 1, would be quite happy with that result. Whereas Japan would love to score 2 here at the 8th. Force 1 at the 9th and then go home 1 up with the hammer. That would be an ideal scenario for them.
It sounds pretty good for any team out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Up 1 with. So Japan looking to activate all of that traffic, all the congestion on the side of the rings. They make a beautiful tap. It's just an awesome shot. And China, they've got their plan.
Yes, and China are happy now. In theory, they've got that centre guard.
Yeah, and there's a couple of the shot comparisons. That's probably the game difference right there. The battle at the seconds has been pretty significantly in favor of Team Japan. But for skip and third stones thrower, Liu Sija, her plan is pretty clear. Take advantage of the center guard.
And does want to be top G.
Boys, that front end working that stone so hard, and look at that outcome. Outstanding. Great shot from their skip.
Oh, she's like, well swept, thanks for that.
Thanks for making me look perfect.
Japan wasting no time, they want that centre open. If they don't raise it back and remove the one in the house, they want the guard off. So change of tact now.
Yeah, it's just a little back and forth tactically.
Yeah, China are lying short. They could put up a guard, but deciding to draw in and half check the Japanese stone. Say the steal would be their first priority, but if they could force one, they would also be happy with that. Oh, what a shot. So, China lied too. So Japan right now are thinking, how can we score our 2 here? They're still thinking they want to.
Yeah. So looking at the comparison on the third stones, advantage to Japan, but you can feel Liu Seja getting more and more comfortable with each stone the deeper we get in this game. The Chinese skip is, she's feeling it.
They were looking just to catch that top one really thin and try and lift the double. But when it was going to catch too thick, they just decided to leave it.
Taking a look in over on sheet B, where Korea is up 5-2 with this last rock for Kim Minji. She's sitting count 1 and 2 already. She needs a piece of the forefoot. Sweepers are just taking care. Is it going to come to a rest in time? And it does. That's 3 points. And Korea's up 8-2 over Hong Kong.
Working this really hard to get it round behind cover. And guard their own as well. Pretty nice shot. It's not easy for Japan to remove that red in the shot position. They have to just come in and half check it and lie short.
Yeah, so they'd like to sit right there, right where the broom is. Somewhere in front, right next to it.
Okay, so they're quite happy. They know exactly where it's to be. The sweepers know exactly where they've got to sweep that stone.
Yeah, so it's Satsuki Fujisawa's job to put it close. And it is the hard sweeping front end, Yoshida and Suzuki's job to put it perfect.
They don't want to bounce.
They had to hold that for line.
How unlucky. Her weight was perfect.
Just a beautiful shot.
But now gives China the opportunity to lie to and force Japan to take their one, which would be a great outcome.
Well, where do you leave this stone, though, Rona? I mean, you know, you're going to sit just a little bit above. I think you want to try and get to the inside.
Yeah, she can just play a gentle tap back weight. Coach's bench all looking quite worried and nervous. There is a lovely swing in there, and if she just played a gentle tap back weight, she could get to the inside of that yellow. She only needs to tap it to back 8. Shooter stays in on top of her other red. And
oh, she's putting tight ice. She's going to be throwing some weight at this. She's going to throw some weight at this. She wants to still try and get to the inside, maybe bounce over. Jang Yi-loon, it's her last shot of the 8th end. That's what she's looking at. There's not a ton of space, and if she hits on this high side, she's going to set up the double. She could spring the red behind.
And jam on the back red at the back 12. This is a high risk shot. But it's risk versus reward at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and she set that out a little bit. You saw her spin the back of the handle off her hand.
Trying to make it curl.
And that's exactly what you drew up, Rona. Here we go. This is the release. She slides out. She's right on the target, and then just pops a little bit and drags her hand.
That was always the danger with playing that weight. You were going to jam that yellow in the back red, spin out your own, and leave a draw for 3.
Boy, that's a tough lesson to learn. That's a tough lesson. And with that unfortunate outcome, Team Japan needs half into the 8-foot with this last stone. You see Suzuki with the technique to hold the rock straight, hold the line so that it holds its pace. Great sweeping. And not a problem. They land it right into the 8-foot. That's a big score of 3 points for Team Japan. High fives all around. They're up 7-4. We'll be back for the 9th.
ツーハウスか。ツーハウスだね。
ちょっとジャッジしっかり見てるね。
ねえ。まだ伸ばせる。こっちがね結構ドローが。
And as we start the 9th end, the goals are clear for Team Japan. They are up by 3 points on the scoreboard. It's all defense for them. Team China, they need to finish as strong as they have in this entire championship. They've got to come up with 3 points to tie it up. They've got 2 ends to do it. You think right now they've got to go so hard for a multiple score.
Yep, so China need to put up their corner guards, try and get something generated at this end. Even if they score 2 here with a hammer, going into the last end, you know, the steal's still possible, so 2 is good enough. But Japan will certainly not be letting them get there too easily.
Yeah, and right now for Team Japan, the MVP has got to be Yurika Yoshida. Just outstanding work from the lead, commanding rock position.
Great setup there.
She does it again. And China being down 3, they cannot deal with those rocks in the middle of the rings just yet. They have got to set up that second corner guard. Now, you know, it's just one of those things that China, you could feel them starting to pick up their execution, starting to get comfortable in the game, and they just, unfortunate choice. As we take a look over at Sheet A, Kazakhstan facing Australia, and Sitora Aliyarova with her last stone. They're down by a single point. They need to get past those stones in the top of the rings for a big score, and they do not. And it is a steal of 1 for Australia. They've got an 8-6 lead as they play the 9th. And taking a look in on Sheet B, Korea's got 3 rocks in the rings. Ling Yu Hung from Team Hong Kong needs a solid draw to outcount those 3 Korean stones. Front end, Shang and Wong sweeping, taking care of their skip stone. They need the 4-foot, and they land that beautifully right on the button. Tighten up the scoreline a bit. It's 8-3. Still in favor of Korea, and they have the hammer playing 9.
So China here, we're just trying to move things up on the forefoot, mix it up a bit and get a roll behind the corner. Hasn't fully buried though. Japan will be able to remove this now. This is where Japan need to err on the right side if they're not getting the shot in the house. Make sure you take the guard. Oh, played it beautifully.
And she gets the bonus to roll on top of the button.
So China have got plenty cover out front that they can use. They need to move these stones about in the rings and just try and roll in behind cover. Playing a big weight.
And you think you have to roll one way or the other, either towards center. You've got to get under those guards. They just got caught between shots and they end up hitting right on the nose and sitting wide open. The good news for China, if there is good news, is that there's still guards out there. But if Japan should execute a hit and roll underneath the center, it's going to be a tough ask to create some scoring space.
If Japan get a wee roll here, oh, what a shot. How many times have we seen in this game, Anne, where Japan play that lovely controlled weight and they hit and roll perfectly?
Yeah, it's just beautiful. And again, this is for all you young players out there, it's all about throwing it consistently, but allowing the sweepers to be part of the shot. They include everyone. They really take advantage of all of the skills of all the players on each shot with such consistency.
And that's what you have to have in a skill-based sport. You know, it's the consistency that makes you the good team.
Yeah, and now China's playing a run back, and it's just such a difficult set of circumstances. They make a wonderful shot. They create separation, some space.
Gives them options now. Japan can't remove all 3 guards.
She just absolutely throws such a beautiful rock there. I mean, it's against such beautiful rock positioning that it's very challenging for China right now.
Shinami Yoshida has played a beautiful stone.
Yeah, there is very challenging angles for China to open up the scoring area, and not only open up the scoring area, but to create multiple points, which they desperately need. Oh, I really hope you're all paying attention at home. That communication is second to none in the world. And Team Japan's putting just so much pressure on China.
And another thing about this young Japanese squad, they smile all the time. They're enjoying it, they're having fun, but they're 100% focused on what they're doing.
Yeah. They love the challenge of of the rock placement, the rock positioning. And that rock from China sits in a really good spot.
And that's why it was so important for that Japanese stone to sit where it sat, so that China couldn't come in off and lie in the shot position. So if you're Japan and you lie too, do you call a guard? No, you call a timeout.
Yeah. So Japan can feel that they're in a spot, a shift spot, a pivotal change position. They're going to have their coach JD Lind come down and join them on the ice.
これが相手これあるんだけど2発必要なんだ。2投必要で相手残り2投なんだよね。1投なんだ。だからガードみたいな感じか。でこれ相手に押されたらもう1個こっちにガード。でランバック狙わす。ね。They can make. They just only has the triple. Then maybe. There's top, but they need 2 shots.
2 shots to get it over.
Guard?
Yeah, you can guard it or you just. Yeah.
ああ、これか
Yeah, or you do it yourself.
あ
If you hit and roll and he's hit right in front too,
あ。あ
it's perfect, right? You just can't nose it.
あ。
Because if you nose it, then they have some shot. Probably the best, yeah, is to come hit and roll, even if you jam into the 2.
こうか。薄すぎてこうなってもいいってことか。ああ。でちょい動く。
The guard is easier, but
どっちがいい？どっちがいい？ほう。さっちゃん投げたい。ね、さっちゃん投げてない方で。ガードはね、とりあえず滑ってはいる。滑ってはいる。
whichever you're more comfortable with.
OK。
Yeah, just know your margin.
OK。
So, the 1 minute with his team over, JD Lin heads back to the bench. He's given his input. He likes a hit and roll here off of the Japanese stone at the side of the forefoot. Talk us through that option, Rona.
At this stage, they're really looking at what you're leaving your opposition. Right now, China have got very little on to get in for shot. So they're thinking the only shot they have is to hit and roll off this yellow on the right-hand side. So they think if they take away that option, then China won't get in.
Is there an easier way to take away that option?
Yes, just stick up a guard in the front ring.
I could feel you during the timeout. Yeah, no, it's a tough call. You could even pick yourself off the back of the button here.
So the result is okay.
It's not
It's
great,
not
though.
great, but it's okay. But
China's now got a chance if they sit right on top. Yeah, so JD evaluating his own work. He's going to take the stats there.
because if Japan had put that one front ring, what were China going to do?
Yeah, I mean, really, and I think the thing about it is this actually makes China's life a little bit better
It's
by
easier.
making that shot.
If I was a Chinese skip, I would be happy right now that I've got a shot I can play.
Yeah, the good news for Team Japan is obviously there's still count 1 and 2. There is some traffic that Juani Loon and Team China have to navigate. You can see it there. They've got to get to the nose. They want to remove the back Japanese stone.
Just rolled off it. Very unlucky.
And you got to wonder about the weight choice. You don't need to throw full takeout weight. It's removing the sweepers from the game.
And it's more with these shots now at this stage in the 9th end. It's more about what your shooters, where are you leaving your shooter?
Yeah,
and what are you leaving your opposition? And that's the key. And by rolling off there, it really played into Japan's hands.
Made life so much easier for Japan. But with that, Satsuki Fujisawa, and her last stone of the ninth end. She's looking for a hit and roll. And you can see it's that down weight, which is going to be pretty valuable since it's running on the wide side. And that sits in a fine spot. It's
Yeah, she's played that well. Does give China a wee in off, but it's very, very thin to remove the one off the 1 foot.
I think there's a bit of a, you could wiggle there, but it's risky. You can ricochet. But if you do navigate that port, and there is a port there.
Yep, just a nose hit.
It's just a nose hit.
A bread and butter shot for a skip.
And they just threw this path. So China should know how to play this. It's a little bit less weight than she just threw. This is the weight I would have liked to have seen on the last shot.
They're going to have to work this one hard, though, to hold it.
It is diving towards the guards. And it's perfect. What a shot. Great sweeping from Team China. And look at this. Just squeaking by that guard. You almost can't get closer. That's what they had to do, and they did it beautifully. China pulls within one. Japan's got the last stone as we get to the 10th. You're watching live coverage from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. I'm Ann Swisshelm, and with me is Rona Howie, and this is the 10th end of an incredible game between Team Japan, Team China. Japan holds a single-point lead. They have the last stone advantage, and they are looking for a little bit of a tick shot, change the angles, and Yurika Yoshida
carries on,
plays an absolutely perfect tick shot to open up the play for Team Japan here in 10.
She's had a phenomenal game, and to play like that in the 10th end is just amazing that she's kept that level of performance throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and Zhuang Cindy, lead for Team China, she's played very well, but when you're up against just the class of the field and your opposing player, super tough set of circumstances.
It's just perfection, and that's what they practice for, that's what they train for. That's why they spend all the hours they do on the ice. So she's having a second chance. Can she do it 2 in a row? Oh, just misswept
Oh.
it. Is it
Did it
touch?
touch? I think it spun back.
Wow.
Wow.
You really thought that was going to hit the bumper.
Yeah, they just missed the sweep and it comes up.
She thinks that's very funny, though.
Here we get a little look at this. Watch the Chinese stone, the red stone if we can. It just spins back.
They're trying to push the bumper into the stone there.
Here we go. Beautiful angle. It's almost to the boards and then stops and spins back.
And she's pushing the bumper with her brush to see can we put the bumper
She's
back
like,
in.
come on. It had to go out.
Wow, because that would have
Wow.
had to have been replaced. That
Yeah,
is two
so-
phenomenal shots.
Yeah, so yeah, the pressure of that is just unbelievable. If that stone had touched the sideboard, the bumper, it goes right back where it was, and the Japanese stone is the one removed from play.
And that, for the opposition, is so demoralising when the lead does play two perfect shots like that, because there's nothing you can do. You've just got to keep putting up the guards and hope for an error.
Yeah, and this one slips into the rings. Taking a look over at sheet A, Australia's got a couple of stones in the rings, and Sitora Aliarova and Team Kazakhstan needs to execute a precision draw. They're playing with 3 players due to an injury. Can they get around this stone? They do, and what a draw. Beautifully swept to the side of the button. They pull within 1. They're gonna need a steal against Team Australia in the 10th. They wanna try and hold on for victory. And Korea's got that 5-point lead. They're playing the 9th. Kim Min-ji looking for a draw. Hong Kong's got a stone well hidden under cover. All she needs is a chunk of the forefoot, and it's requiring a team sweep. All 4 players hit the brushes. They are trying to drag this stone as far as they can. They need the forefoot. They do not have it. And Hong Kong steals a point. It's still a mountain to climb. They're down by 4. They do not have the last rock as they head into the last end.
So Japan just continuing to clear the guards. Did jam on the one that nearly hit the side earlier on. Didn't roll into the house, so it's just stopped short of the rings.
Yeah, the goals are pretty clear at this point on our main game. There's really nowhere to hide a stone. There is something to freeze too for Team China if they get down to it, but
yeah, China just have to keep persevering. Hope for an error.
yeah, you're going to need a pretty significant error. It's as you can see, a wide open field of play.
Shinami Yoshida just nicking that one off. Oh, and spins off the corner guard. They really want to just take that out the house. They don't
Yeah.
want anything they can jam off. Opens it up anyway, which was the Main aim.
意识感。
这点。
行，稍微给我再来一点点，再来一点点 ，OK。
So now China's got to try and work with anything that they've got, and what they've got are 2 Japanese stones in the back of the house.
Japan have got that nice cushion where they are 1 up, so they don't need to score.
不够，接，哈尔挺线，将你接，发球。
They're all working this one hard to get it there.
哇，不擦了吗？特别小。哇，已经下线了。哇，不擦了，停前边。哇，
擦在中间呢。
哇，
行，擦到这儿。
So just giving Japan something a little different to look at. So that rock now in the rings. China's hoping for a jam, and maybe they get a chance to throw up a guard.
But right now, if you're Japan, you would be glad you've just made your opposition come into the house.
Clean, the universal goodwill call to all sweepers out there. The shot's good. We are just going to prevent it from going awry.
体がすごい滑りすぎる。なんかすごいまだ滑ってる。怎么啦？站，直接奔展啊！佳姐那多大？全场。我给你比我那稍微收一点啊。行。 14秒5。
Johnny Loon.
大点吧，力量。6，非常大吧？不大，线 OK 啊。
顶线。
She wants a freeze.
线6，加油擦一擦，线路非常好。线路非常好。那也得擦。力量不够，下线擦。力量不够，下线擦，全力下线，再下，2，再下。OK。
So simple execution for Japan now. All the pressure's on China, but any kind of a miscue. Satsuki Fujisawa. A little bit of a drift on that delivery, just the back leg moving around just a little bit. But with this weight, she gets away with it. She says, that works out pretty good. So with this last stone, China needs to be shot stone when it comes to rest. They'd love for it to be tucked around, fully undercover in the back of the 8-foot and shot stone.
Struggled a bit with her hits today, but her draws have been pretty consistent. Can draw round this top yellow.
They're going hard for weight and line.
They're trying to bury it. And take it right back. Good effort.
What a wonderful effort by that front end.
But
And
by trying to bury it and take it further back, it now does give Japan more room to draw. They wanted to leave it like T-line so that Japan might have been tempted to hit.
yeah, and you can see that that rock is half under cover. Some people might be tempted to hit at it, but this shot here puts so much of the power into the whole team. A draw, it's open.
And the front end have played so well to keep the front open. So Skip's dream, just draw the 4 foot. Sweeper standing back, never a good sign.
And with that draw coming a little heavy, we have bonus curling coming our way. It's free curling. We are tied after 10 ends. Stay with us. We'll be back for the 11th.
マーチンだけ確認していくか。そうね。じゃあ。
This is the extra end of our feature matchup, Team China versus Team Japan, coming to you live from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. After extraordinary execution by her entire team, Satsuki Fujisawa's last stone of the 10th was just heavy enough to allow China a steal of a single point and force this extra end. And now, Yurika Yoshida looking to duplicate her Herculean efforts from the 10th end. She throws her third perfect tick shot in a row. The Chinese skip continues to pat the backside of the bumper, looking for a little help. Great shot by Yoshida. And Juan Cindy needs to stick with what she's been doing. It's been really good. Guard needs to go back. And her sweepers are sliding 5 feet behind the rock. That is a very bad sign. And this is why, because that stone slips into the field of play, the scoring area there, where Japan is allowed to take that rock out of play.
Yep, with the new 5-rock rule, that's certainly an error there that China were not needing.
You just got to wonder if watching Yurika Yoshida and Team Japan just tick, tick, tick your stones 3 in a row, if that just didn't raise her blood pressure a little bit. And we've got a final from session 6. Korea holds for the victory. They beat Hong Kong 8-4.
Thank you.
So Korea move on to 4 wins, the same as Japan. They play each other tomorrow. So it's still all to play for out here.
Yeah, and we are nowhere near finished with this game. What a battle.
16.68应该能OK OK 好球慢点傻呀
So China will keep putting up the guards. Japan will keep peeling them off.
Yumi Suzuki.
Such a steady delivery. Steely focused eyes on the brush.
Yeah, I love that. Never dropping the eyes, keeping them on the target all the way through follow through and release.
You can see there, very steady, very consistent.
Beautiful balance and timing. It really is an elegant delivery and so much power. All of her form directly behind the stone, going through the handle.
那比你那个稍微远还行没事没事高一点无所谓高一点没事 OK 好球
And China doing what they can. So the sweepers are on this one right away.
Yep, it's going to be a very tense finish. It's a very tense game. It means so much for both these teams out here.
And looking at our standings, with the win, we just saw the final. Korea has officially qualified for the playoffs. And we know the value of this game here. If China wins, their #1 seed headed into post-round robin play. If Japan hangs on for a victory, they face Korea for that #1 spot tomorrow.
But if they were to lose to Korea tomorrow and win this game here, then there'd be 3 teams on 1 loss, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then 3 teams with the same round robin score, and they've all beaten each other head to head.
Yep, so the head-to-heads won't be able to be counted. So that's when your last stone draw becomes very, very crucial. They throw 2 per game after their pre-game practice, and they can eliminate their 2 worst scores for the whole round robin.
And is there a bounce happening here? And all of a sudden...
Oh, they've taken the bumper out the side as well.
A little bit of extra work for the ice crew between games.
Oh, we'll just put it back. There we go.
And Chinese skip Liu Sijia. She's going to continue with the game plan. That's put up a guard. They've got 1 rock in the rings now. A little bit of a bonus.
It is, because if they get that second one in at some point, it's that psychological part that you're line 2, so Japan have to score.
Yes. And the skip from Japan is lining up every single angle she's seeing. It's quite a bit of a distance. But she wants to know where she needs to hit it. If the rock should overcurl. But I think the main goal here is just to remove that center guard. What a great shot. That may be the shot of the tournament. That is an incredible angle to hold and remove the shooter. Outstanding from Shinami Yoshida. Look at the depth of this angle. And then the heads-up awareness from Shimizu to follow that shooter to object rock and spin everything out of the rings.
Yep, Fujisawa had eyed up the angle, said this is where you have to hit it. Well, that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. And now they've got to lower their own heart rates, get ready for their skip to throw. There's still 2 rocks to come.
Yep, China can't do any more than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfectly placed stone. But given the set of circumstances, it should be a wide open shot for Fujisawa at the end. She's got to make this peel here.
Clean, so they're quite happy with it.
That's well thrown. Simple execution.
So China just put the stone in the rings, leave Japan an open hit. Zhang Yilun knows that all she can do is put this in the paint.
And her sweepers working so hard.
They're just trying to bite it, shouting at the stone to stop. They wanted just to leave it and
Half on so
Yeah.
that she had to draw. That's what their goal was there.
I don't know if she actually hits this on the nose. I don't know if she will be in. I think she's going to have to get the roll.
Yeah, she needs a little bit of a roll.
That was so very close to being absolutely inch perfect.
Yeah, this, I mean, this Chinese team has played incredibly well all week. And they've left a little bit of a tester here for Satsuki Fujisawa and Team Japan. Oh, and they
perfect.
just get it. And with that hit and roll, it's handshakes for everybody. Good curling all around. Team Japan pulls out that win in the extra end. And that's our final. China 7, Japan 8. In the eighth end, it's a huge opportunity for Satsuki Fujisawa and her quartet from Japan. An open draw for a score of 3 to open up the game. In 9, lots of rocks in the forefoot. It's a tester for Zhuang Yilun. She's got to navigate a small port and hit for 2. In the 10th end, all Japan needed was a bit of the forefoot. And the hammer shot slips just a little deep in the rings, and it's a steal for China. And after a well-executed extra end by Team Japan, they made a little hit and roll and took this game 8-7 over Team China. Kazakhstan and Australia are still out there. They're battling in the extra end. It's 8-8. Korea, they won and qualified for the playoffs with an 8-4 victory over Hong Kong. And in our feature match, a wonderful game. Ended it after the extra. And this is what we've got so far. Japan, China, Korea, all qualified for the playoffs. China done with their round robin. Japan will play Korea tomorrow, and it could be 5-1 atop the standings. And Australia, Kazakhstan, Hong Kong, all looking for that last and final spot in the playoffs. Qatar will be back on the ice for the final draw, and they'll be looking for their first win.
Many congratulations, your 5th win. How do you feel about your team's performance out there?
おめでとうございます。今日の試合をちょっと振り返っていただき
今日の試合で初めて最後の10エンドまで戦ってみて、その後半8エンドからのアイスの状態が初めてだったので、すごく最後の最後私の10エンド目のドローをスルーしてしまって、逆に相手を最後まで我慢し続けてきたので、まあでもチャンスでしっかり3点取れて自分たちのペースに持っていけたのは良かったと思うんですけど、まだまだ課題の残るゲームだったので、しっかり明日また集中し直したいです。
So it's actually the first time that we compete until the 10th end and 10th end. So we experienced the ice after 8th end for the first time. There was a mistake at the draw in the 10th end, but we got a chance to make 3 points, but it left room for the advancement, like the room for the make it better for the next one.
And at the 9th end, you called a timeout. Can you explain your decision to hit rather than guard?
まあガードかテイクかどちらでもいいっていうふうにコーチからもアドバイスを受けて、まあ、私的にもフィーリングが良かったテイクの方を選択したんですけど、まあ、それ以上に相手の方が最後にラストショットすごくうまかったので、あれはもう相手に、まあ、ナイスショットって感じで、はい。
The coach said actually she could take either way, so it was her decision to go for a take. And actually the last shot of China was very good. It's something that we applaud for.
Congratulations, thank you.
5、4、3、2、